And welcome to Newsmax Television. I'm Steve Malsberg, and so pleased to be joined by Texas Congressman Louie Gohmert. Hello, sir.
Hey, Steve.
Glad to see you.
It's great to be with you in person.
I'm ready to laugh. I want some jokes. I want some. No, you're so unique because you're so involved in the issues, but you always handle things. I notice when we speak with a sense of humor, as gloomy as things get, and they're pretty gloomy right now in this country on many levels.
I want to cry, but you know, a sense of humor is a little more helpful.
All right. Well, yesterday, I don't know what the sense of humor level was down on the floor of the House. The House passed the Republican bill, along with about 38, 39 Democrats, to extend people's health care coverage, the ones that are being canceled, mandating that they be extended as opposed to what the president did, and also letting the insurance companies sell new policies for that 1 year period. Right. It passed. I think only a couple of Republicans voted no. As I said, 38, 39 Democrats voted yes. Yeah. So what does that mean?
Well,
where are we?
That makes it a truly bipartisan vote when you have that many from the other side voting for it. But it is very important to note it wasn't a mandate. Now, Mary Landrieu has a bill that mandates insurance companies provide insurance, and I read Obamacare before I voted against it. It was clear one of the things that they wanted to do to get to where the president said, his own video saying, he wanted to get to single payer, which is total government control of every aspect of health care, where you pay for a lot more government, a lot less health care. But as he said in the video, we're not going to be able to get there in one step. So the first step, do this Obamacare type structured health care, and then use that bill, require insurance companies to provide all kinds of coverage, and then force them to keep the premiums as low as possible. And then that would bankrupt the insurance companies.
Right. Result in a
and then the
payer.
Government has to come in and say, you know, these greedy insurance companies, greedy doctors, healthcare providers, we're going to have to do it all.
Right.
You got, you know, in books you're told you to look for foreshadowing.
Right.
Foreshadowing you had was talked by the president about insurance companies and the problems there, and even got into doctors, if you recall, talking about, you know, a doctor
cut off your leg as opposed to treating the diabetes. If your kid has a sore throat, they'll take out the tonsils.
Because he knows he was already laying the groundwork for vilifying the doctors and the evil insurance companies. So that was in place. And so if you look at what Mary Landrieu's bill does, it actually mandates that insurance companies have to provide policies that they had before.
Right.
Well, there will be some insurance companies take advantage of that, you know, and there probably were policies they wanted to get out of. But that really plays into Obamacare bankrupting insurance companies when you mandate that they provide coverage they can't afford to provide, which moves them closer. We can't do that, and I would not vote for the Upton bill until I talked to Fred Upton, the chairman, talked to our leadership staff, and I talked to Eric Cantor. I got commitments across the board from everybody that are very clear, and Fred said this very clear, that he had been misinterpreted and that he had not read Mary Landrieu's bill, didn't realize it had a mandate, but under no circumstances would our bill be allowed to either be conferenced to get a mandate or to lead to a Landrieu-type bill coming to the House. And it was not, I would not vote for that bill until I had those assurances. Okay. Because I didn't want to vote for anything that would help bring about total government control of everything.
The end of the insurance companies, which many say is what Obama, you know, and this whole Obamacare is designed to do. But this bill, the bill passed yesterday, notwithstanding the fact that so many Democrats made it a bipartisan effort.
That's right.
It's not going to be picked up in the Senate. They're not going to touch it. And the president already said he'd veto it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm glad it was passed. It's more than symbolic. It means something.
And it would help because it tells the insurance companies that despite, it changes Obamacare. Obamacare says the insurance companies are going to get hammered if they don't provide the policies exactly like they were supposed to. Our bill says if you got a policy in place before Obamacare now, it's okay. Keep it
Right.
going for another year. So it would allow insurance companies to do that. As I understand, in Florida, some are trying to look for ways that they can go about providing that coverage for another
half
year.
a million people in
Yeah.
Florida, 1 million in California. It's
And
crazy.
actually, Steve, I'm working on a plan, and we're trying to get support and get input, but that would basically, so there are Republicans saying behind the scenes, well, what about all these poor people that have lost their insurance because of what's already
Right,
happened?
right.
You know, like the people that had cancer, have debilitating
They're
disease,
caught in the middle here.
and the costs go way up. They don't get to keep their doctor. They didn't get to keep their insurance. And so what some of us want to see is an interim, only a bridge, not a permanent solution, but every state has insurance policies that are approved for the state workers.
Right.
The federal government has policies that were approved for people that work for the federal government in the different states that are okay in those states. Just as a one-year bridge to get us through this tough time when people have lost their insurance and can't afford what's there, let them buy from the private insurance companies that are approved by the federal government or the state government or local government. Let them buy those policies for the next year, and not governed by the federal government, not controlled by the OPM in Washington, but just controlled by the states. Let them do that as a one-year bridge, because some people are going, well, what about all these people that have lost?
Yeah, no, it's a great point.
If
Absolutely.
you completely repeal Obamacare now, like you guys want to do, yeah, we want to do that because it's going to do devastating damage. It's going to end lives sooner than they would otherwise, or if you can't get the pacemaker you need. So this would be a one-year bridge, and we have been thinking about. We do have alternatives. We can make this work to get back to sanity.
But let me ask you this. This is the talking point of every left-wing media person and every Democratic person, congressperson, senator that comes on any of the shows. Where's their plan? You have no plan. Now, I know there are plans out there. I know that even some things have been passed. I understand that. But isn't it time for the Republicans in the House to pull out one page, and I think you and I have talked about this, and say, here's what we will keep from Obamacare. Everybody, for whatever reason, wants to keep their kid on the insurance until they're 100. Everybody wants no pre-existing conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody likes the portability. Everybody wants the donut hole closed. Here, we just passed it. That will be our bill going forward. So you can keep the good parts, and we'll get rid of all the other 1,800 pages. Why don't you guys just do that and pass something like that so you could say, here it is, we did pass it. Now, we passed it yesterday. And so these people would have to shut up and say, there's no bill, they want to go back to pre-existing conditions, they want to take away your kids off your insurance. Shut them up by passing something.
Yeah. Well, there are alternatives.
Yeah.
I have a bill that was an alternative bill. The Republican Study Committee has one, but and Mike Burgess, a lot of our
I know
doctors
there's
have
lots
plans.
of bills out there, but isn't it time to pass something?
I think it's time to do, and this is what I want our conference to do. It's what I've talked about. Do what the president promised. I really think it's good to have input from all kinds of sources. I don't want to see the Republicans jam through, here's our alternative, that's what the Democrats did.
Right.
But what appealed to the American public in 2008 was the United States president now, candidate then, saying, I am going to have debates. We'll even have them on C-SPAN.
Right, and he
We
had
will
one,
discuss
right,
this.
yeah.
And we will get all of this information and we'll pull together a bill. Steve, I think that's what should be done.
Right.
Our leadership is not ready to have that open debate. I think it's time not to just say, here's the bill, we're going to ram ours through like the Democrats. No, but let's have the open debate.
But who would you talk with? Because the Democrats are going to say, we already have Obamacare. Obama's going to say, I'm not going to talk about a new plan because we already have Obamacare.
We're in the majority in the House. We have the hearings.
Oh, yeah, you can have
If you
hearings.
build them, they will come.
Okay, all right.
And so you have hearings and you get input. And let let the Democrats bring in their socialist friends to say we want the government to control everything.
Right.
But let others come in and say this is the solution. Because you point out, because you know you've covered this stuff, we were agreeable to letting young people stay on their parents' policies. And most insurance companies, they know generally young people are healthy, and so let them pay a little more premium and be on the policy.
Right.
We were offering to agree to that. Now, on the pre-existing condition, yes, I know of situations, I'd hear about situations where some insurance company really screwed around somebody and all of a sudden claimed something was a pre-existing condition when they knew about it before and gone along and accepted the premiums and then sent them out in the cold. Those are the kind of things we need to stop.
Or somebody who's lost a job and has to get new insurance.
Exactly.
And if they have a heart disease or whatever condition, then they won't be covered for it.
And then
yeah.
the COBRA is so expensive.
Oh,
I've
absolutely.
seen so
yeah.
in my own situation.
Right. But see, these are things that resonate.
That's
These
right.
are things people want. So that's why I'm just saying, it would make my job easier and your job easier and show the American public, here's our plan. But you want the hearings, I think that's good.
I agree completely. It's time to move forward with our plan, but let's don't ram one down.
Right.
Let's let Mike Burgess, Louie Gohmert, Tom Price,
You got a lot of
Phil
doctors
Rowe,
in
all these
your
doctors,
caucus.
John Fleming, let all these doctors that have good ideas. Let's get all this input. When I was putting my bill together, I was bringing together doctors and people. Newt Gingrich sent some experts to help us out. That's
another thing, though. How many do you think the all the doctors that are Republicans, or all the Republican doctors in the House, even, if you just had them on the steps of the Capitol, constantly addressing the American people, saying, "Here's a eye doctor, here's a neurologist, here's a." I mean, it would resonate because people would take comfort. These are doctors; they know what they're talking about. They're not Nancy Pelosi or Harry Reid.
How
who
would
doesn't
you like
know.
to be Speaker?
No, I wouldn't like to be Speaker, but I'd
I
like
like
to,
the way you're
have
thinking.
an ear.
I
I'd like
love
to
the
have
way
an ear
you're
because
thinking.
I think not you, but Republicans don't know how to get the message out.
Well, and I'll tell you that some of my doctor friends in the House have been volunteering on a pretty regular basis to do the very thing you're talking about,
it's not happening.
but it's not happening.
All right,
I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, people would take comfort that these people know what they're talking about because they're doctors.
And
now,
they do.
Yes. Going forward, you hear Debbie Wasserman Schultz say, "Oh, we're going to run on Obamacare in 2014, and we're going to take back the House, and blah blah blah." How big a disaster is this? And what's the strategy, do you think, going forward? Is it almost just a fait accompli that you guys are going to gain seats in the House, gain seats in the Senate? I mean, because this is a disaster. There's no way around it.
Well, leave it to Republicans to find a way to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory, and that could still happen. But what I keep wanting people to understand in our party is when you stand up for what's right, instead of arguing about what's politically best, if you just stand up for what's right, in the end, you may hurt you here or there, but in the end, it ends up being the best thing politically. And not getting cued and trying to twist this or that. Just stand up for what we believe in. Show the people what our plan is, like you're talking about. Let's come together. Let's have these discussions. But I think we should stay in the majority in the House. But people are starting to see it wasn't the Republicans that shut down the government. It was Harry Reid. He refused to even bring to the floor compromise after compromise.
The kids with cancer.
And why should we do that? But then the most incredible, most ignorant statement I'm familiar with from a Senate Majority Leader when he said, what right does the House have to say how money is spent? It's called Article 1 of the Constitution,
Well,
for heaven's sake.
a whole other story.
So,
Okay.
Well, I think that we should come out politically well, but the trouble is people are suffering in the interim.
Right.
And Obamacare is causing the suffering. And I think that we have got to keep pushing on this because this isn't about politics. If people try to make it about politics, it's going to hurt them in the end. Right. It's about helping alleviate the suffering that Obamacare is and will cause.
Push that leadership, sir.
That's what we will
Get your
be
hearings, do it
continue.
the way you want to do it, and
Thank
let's
you.
get that in. Thank you.
Well, I'll tell them. Steve Malzberg said
That'll
this is
do
the
it.
thing to
That
do.
and Dollar
Well,
will
it'll-
get you a newspaper.
It'll mean more to our leaders than Louie Gohmert said.
No, I
So
don't think
thank
so.
you very
Thank
much.
you, Congressman
Thanks,
Louie
Steve.
Gohmert from Texas, and thank you for watching Newsmax Television. I'm Steve Malzberg.